Okay, everybody gets these little shelves. They order them from wherever you want to order them from: Home Depot, Walmart, Lowe's, AliExpress, Temu, Walmart, Costco, whatever. They say they're, I think this was 2,200 pound rating, and you get this little flat box. So you got to ask yourself that, is this really a shelf that's going to work? But we're going to find out how hard it is to assemble and go from there. This one actually came from Temu, I believe, and it was fairly quick shipping. It came on FedEx. They had a delay from the storm, then came up a little bit late, so it was a few days late, but it was weather. Now, y'all don't mind my fancy little assembly area here, or my sophisticated chair system. You use what you got, and this is what we got. So we are going to just take and cut some of these open with our little piece of junk knife and see if we can figure this thing out together. So did I get all that? Maybe not. Corner will have some. How about this corner? Did I get all that corner? Okay, we open the box and the first thing we see is assembly instructions. Not that I or many other guys tend to look at the instructions first off, but it's nice that they're there, because if we mess something up, we look at it when nobody's around. So let's see what the assembly instructions look like. Simple little book. Please do not install crossbars. The connection of the vertical bars. Overall stability. So it looks like your upright legs are going to be a two-piece leg, and we might actually assemble this in two short cabinets to better serve our purposes. That might actually be beneficial, because I was going to get a second cabinet, and we have to make some modifications for the inverters to hang on, so a single splitting these up might actually benefit us. Okay, they have a parts list. Let's make sure you can see that. We're showing the vertical legs, short crossbars, long crossbars, support bars. Now, one thing I am not seeing that I do like with metal cabinets, I tend to put a lot of weight on cabinets, on shelves. I've tried the plastic cabinets, I've tried the big heavy duty cabinets. The pallet cabinets are really nice, but they take up a lot of room in a garage or something like that. I have some old metal shelving that they dent up a little bit with the metal. These are supposed to have a little bit of a wood surface on them, so for our purposes on this, it'll be better. But they have a crossbar, an X-bar in the back that makes them superiorly stable, and they hold the weight. I do not see any type of a crossbar that would go basically from the top corner to bottom corner and vice versa. So we may have to make our own backing or a piece of plywood or something to give it that stability so it doesn't wiggle. We'll see how it works out. But again, they're showing, see, they're showing this bracket in between here to make this a taller shelf. This is supposed to be a 60-inch shelf, so it would actually fit in that resin shed that we have assembled in on the low side. However, if I can disassemble it, I won't need that much, but it will benefit us. But they're showing you basically how do you assemble it step by step, so it's decent instructions that anybody could follow. You find the parts that are up here, you look at the picture where they're putting the parts, and I mean, it's basically like a kid sticking a block in a hole. It's not overly complicated. I say that and I'll probably have problems with it, but well, you don't tell, I won't tell. How about that? Okay. Uprights. Support bars at the right angle. So we have a support bar between the shelves here. And that'll keep some flex out of the middle of the shelf. And that's what I was talking about earlier on my other metal shelves. They didn't have a support. They had a bend around the sides, and they held several engines of different types on the shelves for either parts rebuilt or rebuilt already to be sold or used. And they would hold a lot of weight. So the only thing I'm really seeing with this that I don't like are no crossbars. And here's a good blow up with a pin design. But this is more like what I'm thinking. I didn't realize this shelf did that, where it splits into two pieces, and you'll have a lower cabinet instead of a taller shelf. And this may actually work better for our particular purposes. Yeah, and that's the assembly manual. So let's pull out and see what we have in the box here. First we have like an MFD board topping. It's a wood. It's not a nice wood, not wood you want to get wet, but it's a nice, smooth, clean surface. It's not cold and hard. It's not going to rust up like metal. So that is one of the things that I did look for on this shelf, that I wanted these little panels. Okay, and there's all our pieces. There's 3 more of those panels in the bottom. So it seems like we are well on our way. So let me lay out a little bit of this, and then we'll show you how it assembles. Okay, this is everything that comes in the box. You got 5 shelf panels there. You've got a box of brackets here, box of brackets here. These are your upright legs, your instructions, your joiner brackets right here, which I don't think we're going to actually use now. They give you this super handy little nifty pair of gloves. Well, I mean, if you don't have gloves, and I mean, this is going to be my favorite hammer. Look at that thing. I'll give it to my wife. Yeah. Mounting screws, corner tabs, and some more hardware here. With the instruction sheets that we've already gone over. So let's do a little bit more assembly, and we will show you how it goes. Okay, I may have lied to you. We're going to use our little specialty hammer here, and we're going to... I might actually have to go get an actual rubber hammer here, and those are locked down. The tabs are... Let's see if I get the angle on that. The tabs are down into the hole, so this piece is locked. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our bottom. Now, for my purposes, I put one shelf on top, one shelf on the bottom, and we are not going to put a middle shelf in this cabinet because I'm going to stand something up in there. You then take your side mounted brackets, and your side mounted bracket is going to go in the same hole. Slide down, and we are going to take a front piece like this and get a better angle so you can see that. These little buttons here, or nipples or tabs or whatever you want to call them, they fit in these holes like this and just slide right down. Now these side ones aren't even very tight, so that may be a little bit of a problem for most people if you pick them up and start moving them around. It is a little tighter when I tap it down, so maybe I didn't get all the way down. Yeah, that seems to hold a little bit better. Okay, maybe I misspoke. I spoke too soon. But Goes together fairly quick. In the hole, down, and we will go in the hole and down. Now, if you were to put a middle shelf in here, I know this seems kind of condescending, but you simply count up 6 holes on this side, 6 holes on this side, put your top bracket in the same one, and you can adjust this shelf wherever you want it to be. For this one particular cabinet, this is where I want it to be, so this is what we're putting in. Yeah, I spoke bad. I like this little specialty hammer here. Yeah. Pretty simple. The shelf bracket itself is just a bent piece of sheet metal. Has a little shelf out for the a lip out that goes all the way around this edge here that those panels will sit in. So we're going to just simply put these buttons in the holes, put these buttons in these holes, and we will just take our little how much more enjoyment can you get from beating a piece of metal with a little plastic hammer? I mean, that's got to be okay. In the hole, take our little hammer and just lock it in. They don't push all the way down by hand, so these little tabs push in and they feel like they're tight, but even that right there is not all the way in yet. You can see a little gap between it, but I can now pick it up, move it around, and we will take a shelf top, which again is this little MFD board. We're going to fit it right in here and sit it, and that's what it's going to look like. But there's one more piece to go in here, which I'm getting ahead of myself. Should be this piece, and we will look to see how they're supposed to. It should just fit through that slide, but we will make sure before I stick it in there and bend it, because you bend those tabs more than once and they don't tend to like that. Let's see. I guess we could have followed the instructions the whole way, but who follows instructions? We go back to the instructions to make sure we didn't do something wrong, or make sure before we do something wrong. Okay, these locking pins, I can lock these two cabinets together, which is nice if you were making one long cabinet. I don't think I'm going to set mine up that direction, but it is nice to have it that way. Okay, your corner caps for your tops, your plastics. Where is the okay, here I am telling you how good of directions they had, and I can't find it. I know I'm looking right over it because I've seen it already when we went through and looked at it, but not down there. Where's that? Ah, there it is. Okay. For these brackets right here are a middle bracket. When you put a lot of weight in the center of that, your span load, just like if you build a floor, you don't want your span to be more than 16 foot between piers, because you get too much sag on a certain type of board, and the smaller boards you use, the more sag you get. So on a shelf, it's basically the same thing. You've got a span from here to here and from here to here. These brackets give it something to sit on so it carries some of that weight, so you don't make that little bowl shape when you got a heavy plant or whatever you might put on the shelf there. So they're saying to put these tabs through and then bend. Please bend the protruding support bar at the right angle for installation. So let's see if we can figure out how to do that without making too much of a mess. Let's bring our cabinet over here where we can sit down. Okay. Now we may have shot ourselves in the foot by putting this in first, which I think we did. So let's use our super special hammer here. Let's take this little sucker out and see if that can't be put in. Like, well, if I could see the hole, we'd be better off. Okay, that's a little tougher to get the bracket in because it's pushing against it. So now I have the tabs in here. They're not bent. Bending them will keep these bars from going apart, but the tabs are in the brackets right now. So we're going to put our little shelf back down. So we got that, and then we are going to simply just take our thumb and we are going to bend this tab down, and that'll lock it in from moving. And we were going to do the same thing on the back side here. We're going to push it tight. We're going to bend that tab down, and then you should be able to see this. Now you have some support on there. Now this bracket, this unit, I got to put some more pieces in. I'm not going to bore you through the whole thing of that. They do have these brackets, and they have them marked with up and down. These brackets fit on over top of these. Let's see if I can show you. You've got this bend over. What it does, it fits over top of here, and it's fairly snug. You tighten it up. You tap them down to where these little flanges are. And basically you have one from one side and one from the other side. And then they have some little plastic rivets, which are these things here, which go through and lock it in position. That means you can't pick it up and take it apart. For our purposes, unless I change my mind, which is always possible, we are not going to use these because I have a better use for it as short cabinets than I do as tall cabinets. That'll save me buying a second shelf. But this is what it's going to look like. There will be two of these. I will assemble that now, bring you right back. Okay, here's the finished little shelves. Like I said, I'm not going to double stack these. They do have the brackets right here. Yeah, make sure I got the camera pointed at the right thing. They do have the brackets to stack these to make this a tall freestanding shelf. This is a configuration that will actually work better for me than a single shelf. As I said, I could change my mind in the future, but right now that's the plan. I'm going to add some, actually some 2x4s coming up and screw into these brackets on the back with some cross braces on there for the inverters to hang on. And that will better serve our purposes. But there are the little shelves, very simple to assemble. If you just push it in without tapping it down with a little plastic hammer or a rubber mallet, if you actually have a real one laying around, they will not lock in, so they will seem more flimsy. As far as, they could use a little cross bracing, but I mean, you're sticking on a rock surface with some cardboard, so it is uneven ground. They do feel fairly tight. We will see how they are when we put some weight on there, because each one of those batteries are 110 pounds. FedEx man loves me. But stay tuned for more videos of different products, of assemblies, product reviews, and if I have any problems with these shelves holding the weight that they say, I think it was 2,200 pounds is what these were supposed to hold. I'll have to double check to be sure, but somewhere in that range. These were a 60-inch shelf if you were to stack them. Obviously, I'm not going to stack them, but if you wanted to stack them, it would simply look basically like that. But you would have, you would have these brackets in here instead to make it a permanent fixture so it wouldn't fall off. But you could put these shelves, you can adjust these shelves at any position you want. This just happens to be the layout that I chose, and this is what's going to work for me, I think. And you have the option of changing it at any time. You're not stuck to the configuration. So if you get a taller box, if you're using it in your garage, or a shorter box, you can have a short shelf like this and then a tall shelf like this. Whatever works for you. You can adjust these type of shelves. Like I said, the tabs do come in and lock down. Once you get them locked down, they're fairly tight. I don't know if I would put as heavy of things as car engines, but I would put heavy flat boxes on these. I'm going to put batteries on these. They're going to be, we're going to see if they hold the weight. And if they don't, that'll make a nice video for you to see. We're hoping I don't have to make that video, but anyway, y'all click like and subscribe. If you want some discounts on HomeSync products, I got a link below. And these shelves, I think this one came from Temu, I believe, but you can find them basically anywhere. There's different configurations of the shelves. This one was a I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but there's the WW address. I think this came from Temu. It was the cheapest shelf I could find that would hold the weight and still be short enough to fit into the plastic resin shed that we're going to use for power building. The shelves generally come in 72 inches is what's common here in the US, and you can find them, but they were harder to find here and they were more expensive. And like everybody, I'm on a budget, so you look for the best price on products, and you look for the product that's going to do the job with the best price, and this is what you end up with. So that's how you assemble them. That's the opinion so far of them, and if there's any updates, I will make an update video. But as of right now, this is the assembly video and unboxing. They did have also some anchor mounts in here, which I'm not gonna need, but it's nice that they are in here. Was a good little instruction book. The cute little hammer actually came in useful. I was joking at it at first. I was wrong. It's good to have in there. It saved me from walking to look for another one. I'm not sure what else I'd use it for, but it works great for that. These brackets I will save for another time. And these this hardware, this is for attaching those brackets, and then these pins, or if I want to put those two shelves side by side, which may or may not happen. I don't think they're going to be side by side, but it's nice to have the brackets to lock the shelves together and make it one long short shelf. So all in all, it's a pretty good product. It was I think $22. So came with free shipping. To me, the shipping's included, the tax is included, and the price is included. That's what you pay for an item in the real world. In an advertiser's world, you pay whatever their sale price is. They don't count tax, they don't count shipping. But when it charges your credit card, you pay it. So to me, we count that.